Welcome to the GuthrieAmerica podcast. We sit down with the amazing people who do life in our community and who are from here because we believe every story should be told. I'm your host, Hetty Coleman. Today, I am sitting down with Karen Orton. Before we jump into this conversation with Karen, will you please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a review? Also, subscribe to YouTube. It would mean the world to me. Karen, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. And let me tell you, every time I start out talking with people, I always started out with this. Hey, everybody. Good day, good day. This is Karen and Larry Orton with Orton's House Seasonings. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. That's so cool.
Yeah,
you
every
just keep
time.
it the same. Brandon it's all about Brandon, isn't it?
They'll remember it. Good
Yes.
day, good day.
Good day, good day. Yeah, on my other podcast, so I do the Hetty Coleman podcast, and I start out, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman podcast.
See?
And then here I just do welcome to the GuthrieAmerica podcast. I just so I can have something different, but yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so when people come in and they're doing the Hetty Coleman podcast, they always say, are you going to open up like that again? You know, they want to hear me say it. And so, yeah. Anyway, that is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're currently in Guthrie, here at Meridian Tech, the Peak. This is a business incubator. You don't live in Guthrie at this moment, but you grew up. You're from here. Yeah. You still have family here?
I still have family here. Now, my mother passed last year.
Okay.
But I still have cousins. I've got some first cousins here. First, second, and third cousins. I have an aunt that lives here. So, yeah, family is still here. I come here all the time.
Okay. Yeah. No. And so right now, are you in Edmond, Oklahoma City?
I'm in Edmond.
The metro.
Yeah.
Now, before we got started, though, you were telling me you lived a few different places.
I've lived a lot of places. So I graduated from Guthrie High School. So I want to tell you this. I went to every school in Guthrie, from kindergarten, you to my Central, Fogarty, all those schools. Graduated in 86, went to Langston University. Graduated from there in 90, and then I went to grad school in Texas. And when I left and went to Texas, I said, I'm not coming back to Oklahoma. I know it. I got my degree, my master's degree in Texas, and then I started working with this job called Federal Highway Administration in 94, and they moved me all over the place. So I moved from Austin, Texas, to Atlanta, to Washington State, to Washington, D.C., to Florida, to Alabama, to Louisiana, and then back home to Oklahoma. Y'all had to eat my words. As I said, I wasn't coming back to Oklahoma.
Hello. Oh, you are coming back. Yeah.
I'm back, and it was the best decision, so I'm glad to be back home.
Now, in which one of those places did you live the longest?
I lived in Louisiana the longest.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there for 6 years. The shortest stay was in D.C.
Was in D.C.?
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
My favorite was Louisiana.
Really?
It was. And then even before that, it was Alabama. And people couldn't believe Alabama.
Yeah, I would be the same way. Alabama, really?
I know, but
Stop.
I know. That was a very good place. And at that time, I left from D.C. I lived in Baltimore. And I said, y'all got to get me out of D.C. It's too much going on here. It's too big for me now. And so they said, we found the perfect place for you. I said, I don't care where you send me. And they said, well, we found a place. You're going to Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, my gosh. But I'm telling you, so much history there.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And so, I graduated from a historically black college. So they had Alabama State there. They had Tuskegee University, all that history down there. And I just took advantage of it all for those 4 years. Yep.
And you got your master's where?
I got my master's at Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's down
So you was HBCU out.
HBCU out.
All the way.
It wasn't the plan. You know what? This is how I operate. I'm not going to say it wasn't a plan. It just happens. And when it happens like that, to me, I just feel like that's just God just leaving me the way.
Yeah.
And I'm just following those breadcrumbs.
That's
right?
cool.
Plus, it was free.
Oh, your master's too?
My master's too.
Oh,
I had a $10,000 scholarship. So they paid me to go to school, $833.33. And one time they sent me $833. I said, I need my 33 cents.
Did you really?
I did.
You
Absolutely, because at that
don't be
time,
messing
you could buy
around.
some hot dogs.
That's right. Yeah,
You know
33
what I mean?
cents. Yeah, you was like, you got to give me my 33
They
cents.
gave me my 33 cents too.
Okay, so, and I know this can be a hard question. Langston or Texas Southern? Like, my kids are getting ready to graduate high school. Mm-hmm. Where should we go?
So I would say Langston.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because grad school is totally different from undergrad, right? Mm-hmm. At Langston University, it's a small school, but I tell you, we made so many great connections. And then it was traditional for me, too. So everybody on my mom's side and my father's side went to school at Langston. To be honest, I wanted to be an astronaut.
What?
They didn't have that at Langston.
No,
So
I don't think very many schools have it,
I know,
right?
but I used to always want to go to the moon. So I said, I need to be an astronaut in order to do that. But then I chose tradition over that. I wanted to go where my mom and my aunts and uncles went. So I went to Langston.
So, okay, you follow tradition, but was there a moment where you was like, because when you graduated with your bachelor's, you could have went somewhere and probably still pursued that, because I think that's a lengthy degree, isn't it?
It
to become an
is.
astronaut?
I think at that time I had moved on because I found a mentor at Langston, and it was my cousin. Her name is Tony. And I said, I'm going to do what Tony did, because she had graduated from Langston. She moved to Texas, and she started working for a federal government. And she was doing so well in her life. And so, I'm very family oriented.
Gotcha.
And so if you can find a family member that is doing things positive in the community and with a job, I said, I'm going to be like Tony. So then I changed my math degree, and I said, I'm going to go into business school at Langston. And then when I get out of business school, I'm going to go find me a federal government job.
Oh.
Because that's what Tony did.
Yes, and you wanted to follow in Tony's footsteps.
I wanted to follow in Tony's footsteps.
That's
so
cool.
both Tony and I still work for the federal government. She's doing well for herself, and so am I.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
She's
That's
always
really
been my
awesome.
mentor.
Now, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we were talking about this as well. It's rare for somebody to be on a job as long as you've been on your job.
Right.
And how long is that?
Over 28 years.
Over 28 years.
I retire next December 2024. I don't know if I'm
Now
going to
you
leave
got
December
well,
1.
you got that number down though.
Absolutely.
You're not messing around with that number.
I have 30 years in. I'm excited.
Oh my goodness, 30 years.
Same company.
Same. That really is amazing, because there's just so many of us today, including myself, like to be somewhere for that long is pretty astounding. And I don't know if it's just challenging. Like for you, has it been a thing of like have you gotten bored? Or are you just one of those people who can be in the same place every day, but you've moved?
I've moved.
Right.
So that's
but you've
the
also
thing.
done the same job
But
to a certain degree.
To a certain degree, because when someone is over you, like I had a supervisor, of course, when I first started. And so I'm getting as much information as I can from these individuals. Then when it's yours, it's a totally different story, because now you don't have anybody to fall back on. So you want to always make sure you put your best foot forward. And so
Gotcha.
that means you got to keep learning, and I did.
Yeah.
And then when I got to Oklahoma, they decided we're not going to hire any other individuals. We have some collateral duties. And so they ended up giving me another role, and that's in the environment side. So right-of-way side, the environment side. So the environment is new to me since 2015.
And now the environment side, you were mentioning like if there is something that that's in the way, like a cemetery, and the highway's coming.
Yeah.
That highway, you were saying it's
There's
not going to come at all, or it may just take a little while for them to figure that out.
It will take a very long time. And so always tell individuals, if we're going to impact this cemetery, and we're just using that as an example, it could take years in order to do so. Because if we're taking some graves, some burials, we got to find out who they are, who the owners are, their family members, you know what I mean? And then we got to find them and see, okay, we need to relocate them or remove them somewhere else. And so that can be very challenging. So the goal is really, let's see what we can do to miss that cemetery.
Gotcha.
And just sometimes we can't. So in my experiences, we've moved cemeteries, we've moved animal
No
cemeteries
way.
before. It's been crazy.
No.
And now
You've
as
moved
of-
this cemetery?
Yeah, we've moved plots. And we've even found in Georgia where we found historical, and I'll say historical because they were old slave cemeteries. And so in that kind of stuff, I'm like, man, how interesting is that? So if you're going down, if you're in Atlanta, I can't remember the location because it's been a long time, but they put a cross right in the middle of the interstate because that's where an old cemetery was for slaves.
Oh.
So I love history.
Now I don't know how much this get. Like, do you have to pay something to the families?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anytime we take something that belongs to an owner of land or a building, schools, we have to pay just compensation to those individuals, and we have to relocate them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what my role is to make sure that those individuals are treated fairly, that they are paid the money that they're due, relocation benefits and so forth. Makes me feel good Because when I get a chance to sit down and talk with them and interview them to see how the move was,
Yep.
I hear a lot of stories. Some
bet.
good, some bad. Now,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had some guns pulled out on me when I was in
Wow.
Washington
Like,
State.
because people are mad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not leaving, I'm not moving. And that's because they're angry and don't understand the
Oh, yeah,
process.
for
You
sure.
just got to just kind of
sure.
work with it and talk through them with it.
Yeah.
So
So do you get some training on how to talk to people like that, or is just good old respect? You know,
it's
like
good
just-
old respect. And I tell people in our field, when you're in right of way and relocation, and when you have to talk to people about taking land, you really need to have somebody in there that's people oriented.
Yeah,
Just sit down and listen to them.
For sure.
Let them vent, and sometimes that might be an hour. Let them vent.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 33. They did some Highway 33 coming through Guthrie.
Yeah.
They did some. I think they expanded
did.
the highway or something
Yeah,
like
you're
that.
talking about going towards Langston?
Going towards Langston. So, but it came up through town.
Yes.
And so we have a house on 33, and I remember them coming to us and just
Yeah.
talking to us because they redid the driveway. They had
Yep.
to remove some of the brick, because some of the sidewalks and stuff like that. But they came and talked to us, like I feel like several times.
Yeah.
And anytime we're getting ready to do anything, they came and talked to us. Like I was like,
And we had to be
Yeah, okay.
careful with those bricks because some of those bricks were historical.
yeah, Yeah.
Since Guthrie, I did not know this until I moved back home and working with the agency, knowing that Guthrie is a national landmark historic.
yes,
I mean,
yeah,
so many. I'm like top 20.
Yeah.
We have so many buildings and areas. It's historic here.
Yeah.
That's why it's a national landmark.
yeah. And so I didn't know that until I started working with the chamber. So I worked for the chamber for a little while here.
Okay.
And so whenever I start working for the chamber, of course, we end up interacting a lot with the city or just hearing a lot. You get a little bit more of the inside scoop.
Absolutely.
And so like learning those kind of things. And when people just think they're going to do something to a building here or something like that, it's like,
Not happening.
yeah, that's just not going to be the case. So,
So I work a lot with the SHPO, with the State Historical Preservation Office. And so when that viaduct, that old
Yes,
viaduct bridge,
yes.
we all grew up going across
going
it.
over, yeah.
And so I had just moved to Oklahoma, so I wasn't there in the beginning with going through the environmental process. And so that was very interesting for me to close it out, to see all that.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm like, this was my hometown. So
Yeah.
I know that there's bowling alley right there. I know all those gas stations that
Yeah.
were there that are gone. So when I drive down there, and I'm like, man, this is odd because my grandparents on the west side used to sell their produce
yes.
on the west side.
Yeah.
And we would go out there. They were entrepreneurs. Their farm is still out there, right? Because we still have family members that live out there. And I remember going out there, and my grandpa and my grandma would sing a song. They'd say, "Hey, little boy playing in the sand, go tell your mama, here's the watermelon man." And so we sit there and talk about that stuff because they did that with my mom and them. So we're all singing these same songs, but it's that west side. It just makes me, every time I go through it, I'm thinking, man, that's where we used to go sell grandma and grandpa's watermelons, and cantaloupe, and cabbage, and greens, all that good stuff.
It's cool though to have that new viaduct. I guess we don't call it the viaduct anymore.
I know it.
I still call it the viaduct.
I did too, right? Yeah. I was like, the viaduct, the new viaduct now.
People like the viaduct, yeah, the bridge. The story is, and I don't know if we verified this or not with my grandfather, but supposedly that's what he asked my grandma to marry him on that bridge.
Really?
On the old one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how true. I don't know if we verified that, but that was the rumor.
So my mom told me that my grandfather helped build that viaduct.
Really?
And now I do know my uncle helped build 33.
Okay.
Going from Guthrie to Langston.
Gotcha.
So I know that for a fact because I would see him out there.
It's been cool having the new highway going out to.
It's nice.
Yeah,
It's very nice.
That's a big deal. Like, and especially for me growing up here, like just the many different accidents and things that happen on that highway going out that way, and so it was really a big deal when I was like, "What? They're building a new highway going
Straighten
to
them curves out."
Yeah,
Yes.
going to Langston. What?
Yeah.
Like, because all of our lives, I just known going on those.
Yep.
On those old highways, and so
Sometimes I still like to take that old Highway 33 just to go through the old part to get to Langston and then going into Coyle.
Yes,
Because it just brings back so many memories of me traveling there every week when I was in school. Because I didn't stay on campus on the weekends. I came
you was coming home.
Yeah, my mama cooked. And so I came home, washed my clothes. I only stayed out there if it was a party or something. Then I pledged Delta Sigma Theta.
Okay.
So if we had something going out there, then I would stay. But
Other than that, she's
times
coming
for
home.
the 4 years, I was at home for the
Now,
wedding.
how often did you bring home some out-of-state folks with you?
All the time.
Yeah.
They call my mom.
Yeah.
They still talk about her to this day. She was the mother of the band. And so some of my friends from band, they lived out of state. And so if they needed to have a place to lay their head until their parents could come get them because they had to leave from out the dorms, our house was the place.
That is cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so I went to school at Bethune-Cookman in
Did
Daytona.
you?
Yeah, in Daytona Beach. And so
Yeah.
like having people to go home with was a big deal when you were
Yes.
from out of state because you just couldn't go home.
Yeah, I know it.
And so your friends get ready to go home. You just looking like a little sad puppy dog. And when they say, you want to come?
Yes. And when they come, Mama had a meal for them. And they were like, man, Miss Hyder can cook.
Yeah. And that's really like it would be cool if my kids went to Lane. I don't know if they will or not, but for those reasons, like they get to bring home kids.
Yeah.
And we get to invest in them and love on them. But I guess vice versa, if they went somewhere, hopefully it would happen for them. You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so you said that you went to every school. Now, this is one of my favorite questions because I love to hear people's experiences going from school to school. Mm-hmm. So now did you start at Banner?
I did not. I started at kindergarten. It was, you remember Miss Green?
Miss Green, which Miss
So
Green?
that was Dana Green, Michael Green.
Uh-huh.
So she was their grandmother.
Okay.
She was my teacher, and so it was Head Start.
Oh, Head Start, okay.
My mom was in the Head Start program.
Gotcha.
She was director of many Head Start programs
now,
in Oklahoma City.
Now, was she the Head Start? Did you go to Head Start here?
I did.
So where was it at?
It was over near the elbow. So what is that street?
Was it on Vilas?
Maybe that's the end of Vilas. It is. It's at the end of Vilas, right across the street from where my Uncle James Roper stayed.
Yeah.
So that was the Head Start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because I was talking
there.
to somebody the other day about it, and they didn't know anything. I was like, yeah, it was across the street. But some people went there, some people didn't. So I guess maybe it was based on if you went to Head Start or not.
I went there. My brother went there. So my teacher was Miss Green, and Marlowe's was Miss Harding. Miss Harding was tough.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be. I'm scared of her. But come find out she's my cousin. Just as sweet as can be.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then Central was first grade, I think, kindergarten.
Central was first grade.
Central.
Yep.
And then I went
Cotterell.
to Cotterell.
Now, do you remember any of the teachers? Of course, you just mentioned the Head Start teachers.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the teachers from that? Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Man, but I can visualize a lot of things that happened there.
Yeah.
Even right now as I sit in this chair.
So second and third was Cotterell. Did you have Miss Love or was Miss Love there?
You know what? Miss English.
Miss English.
Her name was Miss English.
Okay.
Yes.
I think my mom would talk about a Miss English.
Miss English. And then fourth grade, so that was, I remember a gym teacher. Oh, what was her name? She was tough. She had long blonde hair. And I hated her class because at a point you had to kind of climb up a rope.
You had to climb the rope and
touch the bell. I couldn't get past the first one.
Oh my goodness, what is her name?
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly. She was there forever.
Forever.
Yes.
So,
but I cannot think of her name. Somebody tell us.
If
leave a
you
comment.
said it, that's right.
Yeah,
but
leave a comment.
I remember her, and I used to.
So that was at Fogarty.
That was at Fogarty. So that was fourth and fifth grade.
Yep, that's right.
And then sixth grade was Favor.
Yeah.
And so I remember Mr. Shelton. That was my gym teacher. Remember
Ronnie Shelton?
Yes.
Okay.
He was the gym teacher, and he was the one that gave me my first paddle.
Are you serious, He was supposedly gave you some hard swats.
He did. Oh, I'm sorry. I had a flashback.
He's like, he did give me a. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, but I did talk a lot. I did. But all in good.
It was all good.
It was all good, but I got sent home.
Did you really?
Yeah. I don't know if my mama ever
now
knew
when you
that.
when you was talking too much, was you getting smarter or you just wouldn't stop?
I just a talker.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. You know what? Even though that was not respectful, because I talked a lot, he probably told me to be quiet a lot.
Oh,
and I just didn't. But as far as talking back to teachers, no, I just never did that because I knew my mother didn't play that, and most definitely my grandma didn't do it. She didn't play it. So
yeah. All right. So then you went to you Favor. Then you junior high.
Junior high.
Any pivotal moments at the junior high? Because now you're in middle school.
Yes.
Teenager.
I was a teenager, but you know what kept me busy? Even in sixth grade, I started playing in the band.
Got you.
That's when I started. Actually, in fifth grade, I was introduced to the recorder, and I was pretty good. And then Mr. Spurlock. that was the band director. And so I was very active in the band and in softball. And then when I got to 7th and 8th grade, I got involved with basketball. I tried to play basketball.
No.
I couldn't dribble. I couldn't do a layup.
That was not your game.
It was not my game, but I was good at keeping books, so I became the basketball manager.
Oh, okay.
So wherever they went, I went
to
too.
go.
And that was all the way up through my senior
Oh,
year in
okay.
high school. I was the basketball manager.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So we all started like Lasagna Basham.
Yeah.
She was one of the star basketball players. Tracy Tipton.
Yeah.
They were all good basketball players. So we played softball together. Marla Owens. You know Marla?
I know Marla.
Yeah.
Yep.
So me and Marla were just together last week in Dallas with one of our shows.
Oh, wow.
So I'm
now, what does she do? Now,
Marla's she's a mathematician. She teaches at a college.
oh, okay. Got you. Okay.
Yeah,
she was
she's a
just there.
professor.
She wasn't selling anything as far as one. Okay.
I stayed with her. I said, "Hey, I'm going to a show. You want to come sail with me?" Absolutely. So we grew up next door neighbors. From I was 7, she was maybe I was 5 and she was 7. So we're great childhood.
Now,
friends.
what street were you on?
Vilas
Okay, Where were you at on Vilas?
on 12, the 1200 block.
Okay.
So I was around the corner from your grandparents.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
James and Mr. Roper. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, James, he was on the far end going west on Vilas. We were closer to Pine.
Okay, so my grandparents was right across the street from Mr. Roper.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, they were right across. Yeah, so
Oh, I'm
we
thinking the
grew up-
church.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking the church because that was right across the street from the temple.
Yes.
So, look at all this history.
Well, at some point, but you would have been, I guess, in 91, they moved to the house next to the church.
Okay. So that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I just
but that was
figured maybe
around
that's where they
91.
were always there.
No, we lived by
No.
Mr. Roper forever.
Is that right?
Yeah, so the Head Start and all that stuff, we would.
That's y'all's
some
area.
walked right across the street to go to it.
Well,
you know?
hot dog.
Yeah.
So y'all went to that Head Start too?
I did not, but some of my aunts and uncles, I remember them
Okay.
talking about it. But I think it was there. But I went to Banner.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know.
never went to
I don't know
Banner.
how you decided if you go to Head Start or if you went to Banner. I don't know. But I think they both existed at the same time.
I remember at Central, which was probably kindergarten, not first grade, but kindergarten, you only went half a days. And we had a babysitter. So because my mom worked in the city or in Spencer. She worked in Spencer first. And so we went to Miss Hathorne's house, Mr. and Miss Hathorne's
yeah.
house all the time. And I was ready for school because I liked school. And so I ran away to go to school. I don't know how I made my way to class, and they had to call somebody to come pick me up because it was not my time to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You's ready.
Ready.
That is wild. That's wild. So you get to high school, you're in band.
I'm in the band.
You're also still managing basketball.
Yes.
Any other so when you were in high school, where was y'all hanging out at?
At the temple.
Really?
We loved the temple. The guys would be out there playing touch football.
Yes.
The girls would be out there talking and doing kind of different kind of chants.
Yeah.
Or we would be doing relay races up and down the
Yeah.
streets. We were good at doing that. The movie theater, which was the old Pollard Theater, so
yeah.
that was the movie theater. We'd hang out there. And they were all, that's
Only a few spots.
only a few spots.
Because y'all weren't cruising downtown and all that stuff,
no.
were you?
Didn't nobody have a car. Look, I'm saying, I didn't get my first car until I was in till I was in Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay.
I rode the
Southern.
bus.
Okay.
I learned how to ride the bus in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to get around the city.
So we hung out at Temple. It would be so crazy deep hanging out at Temple because people would go to the convenience store and wash their cars and all that
Yes.
stuff. And then the Langston student, everybody like that. That east side of the Temple would be packed full of people.
Hat.
And I try to tell my kids that now. They'd be like, "Why was y'all doing that?" I'm like,
That was our fun.
"That was the best. Those
Yes.
were the greatest moments ever hanging out at
Yes.
the Temple like that."
It was. And then like you said, the store right at Gallagher's or I can't remember the
I don't remember the name of that.
They had the little store. And the building's still there. It looks so small now.
Yeah, it does look
But
so
it was
small.
so big
So
when
many
we were
things
all
look
younger.
small
I
to me
know
now.
it.
And then F&H was around the corner.
I know it.
Yeah,
Man, Mama
yeah.
would send us down there. She had some food stamps one time, and she said, "Y'all go down there and get us some bologna." I said, "Here, Marlo, that's my oldest brother. Here, Marlo, you go get the bologna." No, you go get the bologna. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But them was the best bologna sandwiches.
My grandma probably still had a bill there whenever they closed down. It's probably
Really? They were so good, weren't they?
They were so nice.
Put it on my tab.
Just sometimes being nice so run you out of business. You know,
I
you
know.
just trying to take care of people. And man, yeah, we would go and my grandma would be like, just tell them to put it on the tab. My grandma had tabs everywhere though.
Did she have
Yeah, she had tabs everywhere.
But
when you got
she was
100 kids,
trustworthy.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Y'all had a big old family.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm thinking from like Tim, them, I think it's about like 12 of them.
Yeah, no,
Was
13.
it 12? 13?
Yeah,
There's a
13.
lot of them Colemans.
And so then I was the oldest grandchild, so people thought I was a sibling. And so,
I think I thought you were too for a
Yeah,
long
no,
time. But then I was like, I don't know where he fits. But I just, he's somewhere.
yeah, so I'm 3 years younger than Eric and Erica.
Are you?
Yeah, so when
Okay.
they were seniors, I was a freshman.
So who are your parents?
My mom is Esther,
Okay.
so she's the second oldest.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yes,
past me.
Yes.
I think I stopped at, who was after?
Brian and Eric and Erica.
Who was after Anthony?
Oh, Michael and Donna.
Okay. And it's one other person after them that I know.
Diane.
Oh, no. I stopped.
Kathy.
I do stop at Michael and
Okay.
Donna.
Yeah, Michael and Donna. Because
Yes.
they graduated 83, 80,
Yeah, so
81,
those
83, somewhere.
was my brother's classmates.
Got you.
So
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
I know it was some more.
Yeah,
I
there's-
just don't know
yeah.
their names.
About 6 more after them.
Yes.
About 6 more, yeah.
were
It
in
was
the
like
middle.
in groups. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I
So
love
okay,
them.
so you hanging out to Temple, you get
Yeah.
ready to graduate, you
Yeah.
decide to go to Langston,
I decided to go
playing
to
in the
Langston.
band in Langston.
Played
You had a
in the
cool
band.
story as far as how you got your school paid for,
I
right?
did,
So
yeah.
tell us that story.
So when I graduated from Guthrie High School, I think I had like a 3.25 or something like that. So I was able to apply for the presidential scholarship out at Langston. If you had a 3.0 to a 3.5, you could get the presidential scholarship. So it paid 90%.
Yeah.
So I had another 10%, and I believe in going and asking people. You never know, closed mouth don't get fed, right? So I found the telephone number to the band because I said, well, I want to play in the band too. So we ended up contacting Mr. Montgomery, and he said, well, come to the house. So Mom took me over to his house, and I pulled my clarinet out, and I just started playing. And I was a gifted individual that played very well in the band. I was always first chair. No. I think I might have been second chair a couple of times. So,
Yeah.
those were battles for first chair. But he said, I'm going to give you the rest of the 10%. So I went to school on a full scholarship to Langston University and enjoyed my time. And that right there took a whole lot of my time, too, because band was no joke. And he said, you're a freshman, but I think you can play the tenor sax, too. So tenor sax is very similar to the clarinet. So I want you to play that, and I want you to be on the traveling tour band with
Oh,
us.
wow.
So I traveled my freshman year with the jazz band where we were out recruiting students.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, so
That is cool. So you got your school paid for, so you got a relief there.
I did. Mama
Graduated
did too.
4 years
I
or?
graduated in 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because Mama said, baby, we don't have no money. You better go find a scholarship, and you are not getting a loan.
Yeah. Oh.
She said, you are not getting a loan,
ain't
and you
gonna
won't
happen.
get any credit cards until your senior year. When I got a senior, I got me a credit card.
But you were a responsible kid. Like, it's for us knuckleheads who got credit cards and shouldn't have had.
I don't know about all that.
You know?
I used that credit card. That guy that said U-Haul. You remember Murtis Coleman?
Yeah, I remember.
So Murtis Coleman. Are y'all in the can?
No.
Since y'all got last names.
No.
Okay. So Murtis Coleman, she was my sorority sister.
Okay.
So she's the one that introduced me to Delta Sigma Theta on campus. And so I found out not too long ago she was the one that sponsored me to be able to. She paid for. I was like, if I would have known that.
How did you find out?
My mom just told me before
Oh,
she passed.
okay.
So I just learned last year.
Okay.
So I bought all of her old furniture. When they moved into that new house, I bought her all of her bedroom sets and her living room furniture. So that was my furniture when I moved away from home. And I used my credit card to get a U-Haul and a rental car. So that credit card came in handy.
Yeah, for that moment, huh?
For that moment.
That's
And then I
good.
started using other nonsense stuff.
Stuff you didn't need.
Stuff I didn't need, but I did pay it off.
Good.
Okay.
Good. What are some of your other favorite memories just living and growing up in Guthrie?
Oh, gosh. I would say going out to my grandparents' farm.
Okay.
Out in the country is about 8 miles northwest of Guthrie.
Okay.
So they have a big farm out there, and they did all their farming. And it was 7 of them, of my aunts and uncles. And we had family gatherings all the time.
Did you
We did a
really?
lot of fishing as a family, not just 1 or 2 people are going. Everybody is going. And so the Cimarron River,
Yeah.
we called that our beach.
Okay.
And so we would all walk down there, and we'd get in that old dirty, muddy water. But that was the best,
Now, were you out north of town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so you would pass the Guthrie High School,
Yep.
and then you cross the Cimarron River, that bridge.
Yep.
Remember that old steakhouse over there right to the right-hand side?
Like
So
once you pass the bridge?
Once you
yes.
pass that bridge.
Yeah,
and
now
then
it's a haunted house or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So
Yes.
that next intersection, you make a left, and then you're going about another 6 or 7 miles or so to
gotcha.
get to their property. But going out there was the best times because
Yeah.
when we got together, we either went to the mulberry tree and we all got mulberries from the tree, or we went down to the well and we pumped water. We played softball together as a family. We always got our Christmas trees out there together as a family and came back home and put it together. I mean, it was just, those were wonderful times out there in the country.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
the other times, I would say 89ers. 89ers was like another big
Oh,
family
yeah,
reunion for us.
yeah.
And it was always at Mama's house.
Yeah.
And so
89 is the best.
it was the best. And it
Yeah.
still is now,
Yeah, it's still good, but it's not like
it's
it
not the
was.
same.
No.
It is not the same.
No.
But
I mean, you couldn't even drive through Guthrie. Like it would be so jam-packed. The parks would be jam-packed.
Yep.
You see everybody. Like, that was your time to dress up,
Yep.
get out and see people that you hadn't seen in forever. I mean, it still has some of that, but it's not
It's
the
not
same.
the same.
No.
And so, I was in a band.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah,
in
yeah.
a band, so from
Oh,
sixth
from
grade
high
to
school
senior
and
year.
college, right?
Well, I was in college, but Langston didn't come down at that time when I was at Langston. We didn't we didn't come to the 89er parade.
Oh, really?
No, we never did.
There's always seasons of
Yeah.
like they don't come, then they come.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's budget or something that happened, and then
Yeah, but
they
at
cut
that
it
time,
off.
in the 80s, 86 to 90, we didn't. But all those other years, from sixth grade all the way up to my senior year in 86, I was in the parade. Kind of embarrassing sometimes because my cousins would be like, "That's my cousin, that's my cousin," and then they would be marching on the side of me, and I'm playing. I'm like, "Get away from me! Get away from me!"
Walking with you, yeah. Yeah, you had to do it. You got to do it.
But
yeah.
those are great memories, right?
No, those are the
great
best.
memories.
Those are the best, and that's why that's when I moved back. It's because those kind of memories and wanting to give a small town to my kids and just trying to do the best we can to make it a great place to live and raise our kids. So
Yeah. And you
that's
see
really
the
good.
smiles it brings, just me and you talking?
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
There is a wonderful connection here, guys.
Yeah, it really is. So you graduated Langston, and then you're going to get your master's. When did you figure out that you was going to go get your master's?
In 90, when I graduated, I was like, what am I going to do now? And so one of my professors says, well, Karen, he said, it's a couple of colleges that's coming here that has some scholarships. Maybe you should apply for that. So one came from Akron University, and several of my classmates went to Akron. And then there was another, it's a Patricia Harris Roberts Fellowship from Texas Southern University. So I applied for both of those. And I said, well, I'll just go get my master's. That'll give me 2 years to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yep.
And so I ended up getting the scholarships on both literally the same day. One was for $5,000, one was for $10,000. Go figure which one I choose. I chose the $10,000 scholarship.
Yes.
So I moved to Houston, Texas in 90 to 94. I lived there until 94.
Now, going from Langston to Houston, Texas, Houston is gigantic.
It was a total shock. Man, I get there and I find out my uncle lives there, my father's brother. So they live on the way other side of town of Houston. But I get there and this lady, she was my realtor trying to help me find an apartment. As a matter of fact, it happened to be one of the students from Langston that used to come to our house and stay till their parents would come and get them. They lived in Houston. So I called them up. I said, I need a realtor or somewhere to move. And they said, oh, let me give you Sumatra. So they gave us Sumatra's number. And come to find out, I'm a member of the Church of Christ.
Okay.
So Sumatra was a member of the Church of Christ. That's these breadcrumbs we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, God just watched over me
Yeah.
all my life, and I just didn't know what was ahead of me. But Sumatra was a realtor, and Sumatra was a member of not Northeast, South Union Church of Christ.
Okay.
And Northeast is another church I was going to. But but she was at South Union, and she said, I'm going to move you, find you a place where there are other members of the church there so that you could ride to church with them.
Oh.
And because I love to sing, she said, and the director of the chorus stays here too. So I started singing with the chorus there too. So they took care of me. I didn't have a car. I rode the bus, and I went to my aunt and uncle came and picked me up on the weekends, and they was like, this is too far. Let me tell you what buses you need to get on to get closer to us, and then we'll come get you. And that's what I did.
Wow.
And then I got my first car later on, but I loved Houston.
Yeah.
That was great. Moving from Guthrie, I'm like, big time.
Oh, I'm telling you, like that
Yeah.
is Houston is so big.
It is huge.
Like you can move from Oklahoma City to Houston, feel overwhelmed, you
Yeah.
know, because it's just a really spread out place and all
It's
that
spread
stuff.
out.
So let's just kind of speed up because
Yeah.
now you graduate your master's, you get this job with the highway.
Yeah.
You've been doing that, bouncing back and forth. We've already kind of talked about our city.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, something happens where you kind of get into this land of entrepreneurship,
I
right?
know, because that was not planned.
That was not
That was not planned.
not
Yeah.
planned at all. But I think before we do that, we got to talk about your husband.
Yeah.
Right. And just kind of tell us how you all met and
Sure.
what that looks like.
So Larry, this is fun. This is really a funny story. So Larry's a little older than me. He's 12 years older than I am,
Okay.
right? And so when I moved back home in 2008, Larry was married. His first wife passed, I think, in 2010.
Okay.
And so, or 2009. And maybe about a year later, he asked a friend of his, actually it was his sister-in-law, hey, do you know anybody in church that's single, didn't have any children? And she said, oh, I know the perfect person for you. And so she introduced me. She said, now, he doesn't live here. He lives in Kentucky. Because at that time, his oldest son was going to University of Kentucky.
Okay.
And so, but it wasn't his oldest. He has two children. So the youngest one, his name is Daniel. And so she said, you should meet him. And so he's going to come down here, and you all can meet. So I was like, okay, not a problem. So she said, well, he wanted me to tell you he's a little older than you. And I said, I don't have a problem with that. I've dated people younger than me. It didn't work out. I'll date somebody older than me. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
And so, but even at that time, I wasn't thinking marriage. But we met, and I was like, this is a good man. And he says, why don't you come to Kentucky and see how I live? So he mailed me a ticket, and I went up to Kentucky, and I was like, this is pretty nice. And he said, I like the way this relationship is going. I'm going to move back home to Oklahoma.
Oh,
So
wow.
he moved back, and he proposed the following year, and we got married.
Wow.
And you know how some people are, you don't know that man, he's just a year. And I said, I feel it in my spirit.
That's right.
And I've never been one to listen to other individuals. I get to make my own decisions, and I've always been like that.
Yeah.
I made the best decision. He's a good man.
Yeah,
Ooh, he's a good
that's
man.
good.
And so that's how I met him. He has two other children from his first marriage, and it's just good. So I've got grandbabies. I don't have any biological children, but I have them as a family too.
Yeah,
So it's just that when
yeah.
you talk about blended families, that's what we
Yeah.
have.
I have a blended family. So
Yeah,
my oldest
see?
is my stepson.
Okay.
He's mine, but yeah, he's my stepson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got
yeah,
it.
Yeah. No, I get it. So you married, and then the pandemic happens
The pandemic happens, yes.
in 2020.
In 2020. So we got married in 2011, right?
Okay.
And so in 2020, the pandemic happened, and it happened good for us because when you say entrepreneur, that's when we became entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because in 2011, Larry did all the cooking. I didn't. I was going to work. We had different schedules. And he decided, you know what? I'm getting ready to fix this dish, and I'm going to fix this dish. And he was just grabbing all these seasonings out our pantry. And he finally said, I'm just going to put all this in one bottle. That was in 2011. So we've been.
You can hold the bottle. If you,
I can hold
yeah,
the
you can
bottle
hold the
up.
bottles up just right there.
So-
That's your camera right there.
Yeah. So he would put all of the seasonings. He mixed them up, and we had all kind of bottles in this house. This is one of them. And he wrote Orton Seasonings on a piece of paper and taped it on here. And so we've been
Hold that
eating.
back up. Let's-
Yeah. So
For those of you all who are listening just on Spotify or Apple or something, you need to come on over to YouTube so you can see this.
so you can see.
Yeah.
So we get something. He just sprinkle it all on there. Everything is in that bottle. And so fast forward 2019, my brother passed in 2015.
Okay.
He had 2 children. I always promised him if anything happened to his children, I would take care of them. And so I was me and Larry were in Washington State at the time. He had an aneurysm and died. And I said, I got to go back home. I got the kids, and so we raised the kids. And so DeMarlo graduated in 2019, and he wanted a graduation meal. And I said, well, sure. So what you want? What's on the menu? He said, well, we got to have Uncle Larry's fried chicken with Orton seasonings. And so my cousin's a caterer. Excuse me, her name is Cherie. And I said, can you help me cater the meal? But we got to have fried chicken with Orton seasoning. She said, y'all got a seasoning? She said, well, I got to try this first. So she took the bottle. She seasoned that chicken up. She said, girl, I can't stop eating this chicken. She said, y'all better put this in a bottle and sell it. Can I have the leftovers? And I said, well, sure. And she told me like a couple of weeks later, she said, girl, we put this on everything. We stopped calling it Orton season. We call it house season. And I was like, okay, I like that. So during the pandemic, I Googled how do you start a seasons company in 2020. And we changed it from Orton's Seasoning to Orton's House Seasonings. So we tell people, whatever you eat in your house, that's what you can put this on.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Look, then we
good.
say hashtag get you some.
Get you
some of that Orton's House Seasonings. So
Get
that's
you
how it
some.
started. Yeah.
Now you have. So I'm looking at these bottles. What's this red bottle? Well, the bottle with the lid. Yeah. Go ahead and hold that up.
So this is the bottle we started out with in our house. When Cherie said, you better bottle that. So I went to a vending show that following. So this was February 2020. And so we have a T-shirt company too, right?
Okay.
So we were selling the T-shirts, but I decided we take a bottle like this.
Yeah.
We had 20 of these little bottles. It had a label on it. I don't know what happened to that label. It's been a long time.
You
And,
can tell something was there.
yeah.
Though.
And so I took these bottles along with our T-shirts because I'm like, the primary thing we're selling is these T-shirts. Primary thing we sold was these seasonings. And so people were buying these, and I was selling them for $2.
Now, so this is how I am. Like I'll say, and I'm like, man, I should have charged $3.
I did. I absolutely said that. I said, oh man, I should have sold $3 or even $4.
Yeah.
But there was a young lady there, and she sold soaps, and she said, I want to help you. She said, you should sell these for more. She said, this is some delicious seasoning, because she wanted some more. She bought 6 of them.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
$2 a pop. Why not?
I know, right?
Yeah,
So
she's like, I came
these
up.
were gone. So she's like, you give me a call, and I want to show you what you need to do. Isn't that nice?
That
and
is
I was
awesome.
like, thank you. She said, I don't want to charge you anything. I just want to help you.
Wow.
So she helped me along the way in the beginning.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So this bottle right here was our first bottle in February. And then our next bottle, I came up with our own label based on what the young lady shared with me. She said, you need to come up with a logo. So I have a lot of good friends. I sing in an all-female chorus called Wings, Women in Need of God Sing.
Okay.
And so Cherie also sings with Wings, too. The one who told me put it in the bottle.
Okay.
Well, Trina, she is a website designer.
Gotcha.
So I said, hey, can you do me a logo? And I said, I want it to be orange and blue. I wanted to say established in 2011 because that's when Larry and I got married. I said, orange and blue will represent Langston University. Throw some spoons, some forks, a knife on there, and some spices.
Yeah.
And this is the first one that she came out with, and it was a go. So I did these labels myself. But it got so busy in our house that we could not keep up. We could. Larry did a whole lot of stirring.
Yeah.
Okay, we had 200 orders in one weekend.
Oh my goodness.
It was crazy. Everybody in that house was working.
Oh my.
Everybody. We had
goodness.
stations, and so now we have a co-packer, and so we have these nice labels. It's got your SKU on there, so we can go in the stores now, which we're in 17 stores now in the Oklahoma City surrounding areas, and our logo, the one that Trina did, and everything is still the same. It's just that it's nice and glossy and it looks good on the shelf now, right? And so after that, we decided let's come up with a low salt because he had a heart attack. So we said, let's come up with a lower salt. So we made some changes and we came up with our low salt. So you see that green line going across. So you'll know this is the low salt now. So we have it both in the large bottles, the small bottles, and now we're coming up with the spicy one. So it's ready to go.
That is so awesome. So what is the process of getting in a store?
You have to have, like a grocery store, you have to have this SKU.
Okay.
So it has to be FDA approved.
Okay.
And so for me and Larry, because we found a co-packer, they are already FDA approved. So all they needed to do was just to come up with you've got to have all of your nutritional facts on it. You have to have every last, ingredient that you have so that people can see, okay, well, I'm allergic to this. I can't have that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, I don't do this all the time, so I'm saying this to anybody that's hearing me. Because there is some MSG in it. When we make it, we put maybe about 4 ounces in it, but the container would make about 10 of these bottles. So it's just a little bit in there, but some individuals just can't have any. So I do let them know. But there are some individuals they have asked me, can you make me a bottle without MSG? So when you ask me, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
I said, but it will not look like this bottle.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of vending shows, and then I'll meet them the next week, and they'll get their bottle that has no MSG in it because it's all about meeting the customer where they want to be met.
Now, whenever you take the MSG out, I don't know, is it a big taste difference?
It is to me. it is to everybody. It really is because this is so good. You can eat it out your hand. I'm going to give you a bottle.
Yeah.
Wait, wait. Because he told me he really is not really into seasonings. You going to use this bottle?
Oh, yeah. I'll use it. Yeah, I mean, there we go.
There you go.
Okay.
So
I got me a bottle.
You got you a bottle. And you literally put that on anything, any kind
That's
of
what
meats.
you're telling me.
I'm telling you for real. Even a popcorn company picked us up in Atlanta. They made a chicken and waffles popcorn with it. So when I would go to vending shows, I'd say, hey, and my nickname is Katie, right? Her nickname is Katie also. I met her on Instagram. She was looking for individuals that had seasonings, and she wanted to try the seasonings. And so I sent her one, and she said, I think I'm going to come up with something.
Yeah.
And she came up and she sent me out, surprised me, and she sent some packages of chicken and waffles.
That's cool.
So we sold our last. She does a rotation every year, but she kept us on for a year and a half. So we're not doing any more chicken and waffles right now. But there's some other popcorn companies in Oklahoma City that has our seasons to do some stuff with popcorn. So we'll see where that goes.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. So what's the big picture for you? Just to be in every grocery store in the nation and the world?
The goal is to be in everybody's cabinets. So whether it's at a grocery store, I'm going to tell you right now, being small right now, it's difficult to get into the grocery stores because they want to take your price point. You know, we've tried to get in a couple of ones. They want to give you 50 cents or $1. I'm like, nope. I'll keep doing it. Small boutiques is really what we're in, and we're in meat markets.
Gotcha. In
time, in due time, if the Lord says.
Yeah.
And we pray about everything.
Yeah.
Because this is Larry saying, this seasoning was God-breathed. And so if it's for us to be in a Walmart or in Crest or whatever grocery store, then we'll be there. But until the time being, we'll be in Oklahoma Hall of Fame Museum, which is now Scissortail Gifts. Yeah. That's how I met Mike from This is Oklahoma. Uh-huh. You know, we are in Creston at Hometown Foods. Okay. And so we've restocked them with 2 years. We're in Homestead Meat and Processing on your way to Guthrie. Yeah. You know? We're there. We've been in there for about almost 2 years now, and we're in Willoughby's. And Willoughby's is a true connection for me. When I talk to Linda about it, I'm always in tears because my grandparents used to shop there when they were living because they had the farm, so they got all of their,
that's
salt
cool.
licks and everything from there.
Are you on Dunnigan Farms?
We were out at Dunnigan Farms. We haven't restocked them.
Okay.
So, but we started out in there, too, a year and a half ago.
Gotcha.
So I try not to get into too many local places too close to each other because we don't want to. Yep.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So in some big companies, that's the way they do. They won't let more than one store be in Oklahoma City.
That's right.
And so, that makes sense.
We try to do like a 6 mile.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. Where can people follow you and find you at?
You can go to Orton's House Seasonings on Facebook. You can go to @Orton's House Seasonings on Instagram. We're just got on TikTok, so I'm still kind of new at TikTok. I probably need to change it because it's just under KDLK Orton. But most of our stuff is on Instagram and the Facebook page. And then our website is ortonshouseseasonings.com. Make sure you put that S after seasonings.
Okay.
Because you won't get us if you don't.
Does it go somewhere else?
Yeah, it goes somewhere else.
Okay.
But it needs to go to the right place.
That's right. That's right. Put that S.
ortonshouseseasons.com.
Put that S after
Put
that.
S, yes.
That is so cool. So I think you will understand this more than anybody because you have a product, right? And for me, Guthrie's not a product, but it's similar to this. It's our place, right? We want everybody to experience it and be a part of it. When you hear Choose Guthrie, what does that mean to you?
Oh, gosh. It means a lot of things.
Yeah.
Choose Guthrie as family because I'm part of it, right?
Yeah.
This is my town.
Yeah.
Anytime I go and introduce myself, when people come to our office with my 40-hour-a-week job, they'll say, where are you from? And I always tell them, I'm from the first state capital in Guthrie. Yeah. I just gave you a little history. You didn't even know Guthrie. You thought Oklahoma City was the state capital, didn't you? I said, no. From 1907 to 1910, it was Guthrie, Oklahoma. That's the state capital. And so it's a family connection here, a lot of history here. You remember when Rain Man was filmed here?
That was a big deal.
Oh, yeah, I was pushing through people just so I could see him. I said, excuse me. And they were like, who is this girl? I was like, I just want to see him.
That's right. Tom Cruise
and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
right downtown.
That was a big deal.
Can you imagine all of those old buildings down there? The stories that they could tell, you know?
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
So that's what Choose Guthrie is.
And it's cool now talking about movies, how many movies are coming through Guthrie now.
Right.
Yeah, it's been really cool.
It has been
to
cool.
be able to be here and be a part of that. Well, Karen, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For making a trip down to your town.
I like
spend
that.
Spend a little time with me. It's cool to see people who are from Guthrie, may not live here now, but they have great stories. And I want to be a part of sharing those stories, whatever way that looks like. And so this is an honor for me to be able to share a little bit of your story, even though I know you're out there, you've been on This Is Oklahoma, and you're doing plenty of stuff. But to get my opportunity to maybe expose you to one or two or three more people is really cool. And so I thank you for coming down.
I thank you, too. You give me the chills. I'm like, he's just talking. I'm just like, I got all the goosebumps because I love my hometown, Guthrie.
Yeah. But I can hear it.
Yeah,
I can hear it. And I love it when people love it. So we are on a mission to have every story told. Will yours be next?